I got a question for both of you guys. If you guys were Vegas, though, and you're going to put a money line on if he's going to hit 700, what would it be? Or is that a dumb question?
No, that's a great question. I wonder what the over-under on Albert's season total for homers is.
Yeah, okay.
I guarantee you it's less than 21. So you're definitely, if that bet you just threw out, you're talking plus odds. For him to hit 21 coming off a season where he hit 17.
Knowing he's a part-time DH.
Part-time DH. What are we thinking?
I don't know.
Plus 300?
Ooh.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's why I'm asking you guys. Like, I wouldn't know.
And plus 300 means for the non-degenerate crowd.
If you bet 100, you'd win 300. I'm just throwing that out there. I would guess that his over/under total might be 14.5. Is that fair? Something like that?
Well, I mean, if he's getting half the at-bats, okay, and so you double it like what a normal season would be, that would make him a 28-homer guy. Pretty good, right? You'd take that. 14 homers from a limited, you would take.
Yeah.
Now, if he hit like 21, that's really high impact.
So, in that soundbite, now I was listening to the press conference yesterday. I didn't listen to all of it. I was driving in the car. And so the headline was, "This is the last ride." And they also, Mozeliak mentioned Waino, and Waino has not yet said this will be his last year. But when I listened to that clip just there, Albert used the word probably. Now, also remember last year that Didi came out and said something that led everybody to believe that Albert would retire last year, and then he comes back because he has a nice year at the Dodgers. He wants to finish it perfect, Hollywood ending with the Cardinals. But he said probably, and he said he might play winter ball. You telling me to do a spec? You telling me that if Albert Pujols is at 697 at the end of this year, he ain't done.
Especially if
he ain't done.
Can you imagine?
He ain't going nowhere.
Can you imagine if he does hit a bunch of homers and gets close, and then pulls a hammy, and the season's derailed, but he was still a good hitter and a still productive guy? Of course, he's going to come back. I believe that if Waino goes out and wins 18 this year, which I think he can.
What about Yachty?
I think he comes back.
If I'm Waino, by the way, so the difference between Waino and Yachty and Albert right now, all due respect, because we all know Yachty, Albert, Hall of Famers. Waino, you could make the argument, is pitching as well or almost as well last year as he was in some of his prime years. And here's a guy that we always have the conversation about. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he's right there. I mean, it's not crazy to think if he could keep this going, if he stacked 2 more years. Honestly,
more it takes for him to get in?
I'm just throwing that out there.
That puts him within the target zone.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay. Something like that.
Okay. And let's not forget that he missed a large amount of time with injury that robbed him of what could have been really productive years for him. So my thing is, if you're a major leaguer, like I get if you have families, you've had enough, but mostly that decision's at least partially made for you. You're hitting 210.
Yes.
But if you go out there and you win 16 games with an ERA of 3.3, I think you're going to ride it again, wouldn't you?
And you're on the verge of getting in that the soft spot of being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What about Yachty though coming back? Like, what does he need to do?
First of all,
I think he's done.
I think he's been more outspoken that this is his last ride. Yeah. But here's the thing about Yachty. And I know a lot of it's, you're looking through rights holder glasses. Okay, that's whatever. Yachty heals quicker than anyone I've ever seen. It's like when they say he's out a month, he's back in 10 days sometimes. Every year it was we got to limit his at bats. We can't run, and the truth is, he's doing a lot of things now better than he's done before. So for me, it's hard to handicap. I know he's up there. He's got a lot of innings behind the plate, which is a thankless position. I don't know, but he's been, at least from what he said, more clear that this is his last go-round.
And if you're Waino, another part of this, so you won 17 games last year. In the same way we talk about Albert Pujols wanting 700, don't you think Adam Wainwright wants 200 wins?
Yeah.
He's at 184.
184, okay.
He could have a great year, by the way, and go 15-7 because it's hard to get wins.
Yeah.
If I'm Waino and I finish the year, he finished 7th in the Cy Young last year. 7th. 20th in the MVP at the age of 39. And another part of this is, now he don't need the money. He's got $150 million, but he's making $17.5 million this year. That's a nice salary.
That is.
For the age of 40.
Yeah.
And this is a guy, he doesn't need the money. He's the perfect human. For him, money also, it's not about I'm going to buy my car. It's about I'm going to feed a country.
Yes.
Like his $17 million, if he plays again in 2023, is going to build wells in Haiti.
Yeah. No,
right? That money's going to go to great things.
It's going to save animals. It's going to do all kinds of stuff.
And he's also got the built-in platform. Now, if you're Adam Wainwright, you'll always have a platform because you're, a beloved baseball player. But as a player, your platform's bigger. And he uses that platform to talk about his foundation, which does amazing work. I agree with you. He's the guy that I think if he pitches well, he's coming back. Now, he could get to 200 wins, but I'm thinking, let's say he gets 17 this year. You think he's walking away like on top? Some guys do, but most guys, they wait till that ERA balloons nicely to 5.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially if he can get another $17 million deal. The Cardinals always need pitching.
Save a bunch of kittens from like a well and make a nice little thing for dogs.
And I think also the fact that so many people doubted him. Like, you've been around the team. He has a bad outing. I remember on the road a few times where it was like, he's saying, I got it figured out. My next start will be better. And you're like, I don't know if you will. But he was right. I mean, it's kind of amazing what he did last year. And even the year before, where he got it together. I've said this before, and he's agreed with it. But everyone talks about the curveball, which is obviously his major weapon. But it is all built off the fact that if he can throw a 90 to 91 mile an hour fastball and spot it, if he doesn't have that, then they can sit on the curveball and do better. If he's got a 91 mile an hour fastball and he can spot it where he wants it, he will be solid again because the curveball is almost always there. It's when he has nothing else and guys are looking for it. And when he was hurt all those years, he was throwing 88, 87, and wasn't sure where the fastball was going. And I think if he can do that again, he'll have success. And he used to say, too, like, well, Waino doesn't throw the 95-mile-an-hour fastball anymore. And Waino would say, I never threw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It was always 92, maybe 93, but it wasn't the velocity. It was where I was able to spot it. And when he was dealing with injury, he couldn't do that.
I want to see the cat showing off wisp of shoulder hair and chest cabbage. That's a bastard of James Hahn.
Yeah, let me tell you this.
That'd be kind of cool.
Let me tell you this about polos. Like, I'm not Cam. I'm not on the mentality. But my body hair is like barbed wire.
Ooh.
So, like, it could be a really nice polo, and I got a quick check to make sure I don't have a rogue hair poking through the polo.
Yeah, like a bristle pad.
Just
you ever
needles.
Get that? You ever get that? A hair pops through your polo?
Sometimes you want to show off your chest hair, though. It's kind of sexy.
No, that's what. Honestly, when I do that and I have the open collar with a sport coat, I always look like, hey, where's the disco?
Hey,
you talking to me?
Hey, it's Jimmy. I feel like if you told Frank Cusimano not to wear a suit on air, he'd slap you like Will Smith. It's in the 314.
Frankie likes a polo, though.
Frankie's got
nice
good
polos,
style.
and I think he's the guy that buttons the top button.
He doesn't
like
gain weight either, so he's able to buy new. When you are putting weight on and your weight fluctuates, it's hard to buy clothes. It truly is.
Well, you got to have different outfits. You got to have the fat, the medium, and the
34. You can get, I
got that.
It's a pain in the ass. Frank doesn't put weight on.
You know why?
And he eats.
Because all night he goes home and he's got this beautiful treadmill set up where he'll watch 7 college basketball games back to back, and he'll just walk and run on the treadmill for 5 hours.
Is that true?
I know he does a lot of
do
cardio while watching sports, which makes a ton of sense. Tony La Russa was like that, he said. That's how he likes to get his cardio. You go to the treadmill when you want to watch a game.
Yeah, you do a treadmill,
walk,
get on a bike. If you're doing your research or whatever, you listen to a podcast, you just got to get your mind away from what you're doing.
Frank had a nice tweet about this show yesterday. I appreciate it. Frank, I mean, we got a nice team here at 5'9".
Charlie stole my damn question, and I was kind of pissed about that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little nervous asking questions. I'm still not that good, although I do have it doesn't matter.
How did I like
No. That was my question.
Oh, you were going to ask that?
That's what I was going to ask. I asked you guys that question. You didn't really give me an answer, so I was waiting for maybe the Hall of Famer Matty Holliday to come on, certainly Cardinals Hall of Famer. He knows what the hell he's talking about. I was actually really excited to ask him that question, and I'm like, I raised my hand. Then Charlie's like, oh, a little, hey. He does a little, And I'm like, okay. And then he asked the question I was going to ask. I didn't like that.
But I gave you credit.
And then, yeah, but it needs to come from my mouth. Jimmy, help me with this.
Cam, this is part of the maturation progress as a media member. Charlie, I know you've been there. You could go on these big scrums, right, or like a big news conference, right, where they like announce your name, Jim Hayes, Valley Sports, right?
Yeah.
So, you're waiting at 3-4 guys ahead of you, right? And there's people, and the guy in front of you or the woman asks the exact same question you were going to ask.
And but now they steal it from you.
And now, no. But my point is, you have to adjust.
Okay,
you got to adjust.
That's right.
So, like all of a sudden, like they ask your question, and you're already up, and the guy handed you the mic. You're next. You better ask something. So you better be able to adjust on the fly and ask your backup question.
That's right.
With the same passion that you
took the rug right out of me though. Like he's going, whoop, bam. I'm like, whoa. I had to regroup. But you know how cool Matty Holiday is? He answered the question like he was talking to me. He did. He goes, here, Cam, let me answer that for you, which was kind of cool.
First of all,
it's the little things, Jim.
He is the best. He is the best.
I credited you. He gave a great answer.
Yeah, he did.
Because he actually knows what he's talking about.
What was the question about?
Unlike us. And real quick, that was also about 7 minutes into the interview. I only have about 2 questions in my head. So after the first 2, I'm going to steal anybody's question because I have nothing else to ask.
Okay.
That's why I asked about
what was the question
baseball.
stealer?
What was the question about?
It was about adjusting to right-handed pitching.
It was why an aging Albert Pujols can still hit lefties, but not righties.
Great question. Really detailed.
And he talked about the shift. He talked about rolling over. He talked about basically compensating pull side if you can't hit the ball out of the park right center.
Yep.
And if you have to go for power to your pull side, you're probably going to be a little aggressive. All of a sudden, you start rolling over. You're slower as you're older. You can't beat out any type of hit.
The fact that Holiday is still with us.
Yeah.
Bader isn't. I'm going to try to get somebody else. I'm going to try to get somebody else. And then I also got to see if, like, Bader's mad at me. Like, I got to see if there's any, like, bad blood. I don't think so. Bader is the nicest guy. He's, like, the chillest guy, so I don't think. But the fact that Holiday, who was doing stuff on the FM station, like a lot. I don't know if he still does.
One of them FM stations?
Yeah.
There's another sports talk show.
What?
I'm 101. There are friends, too. We get along. I mean, there's no turf wars.
Damn right.
If there were, I'm glad we're with Cam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would hide behind you.
And Seth.
Yeah, you don't mess with us. And Seth. And Seth. And anyway, but the fact that he stays with us, I think he likes it.
100%.
I think he likes
Absolutely.
being part of our show.
Well,
Jim,
here's
you
the
can
deal.
tell, man. You interview enough people, you just know who's into it and who's not.
Look, here's how you know also. Last week when we had the mix-up, he actually messaged me wanting to come on because he was waiting at 9:30.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
That was my bad.
That kind of
No, but
sucks.
I'm saying-
Like, the guy's waiting. Like his children are doing stuff. He's like, yeah, I mean,
Nate, my
I
bad,
don't
right?
know.
Be honest.
I don't know.
No.
That was. A
It
tough
was
one.
just we should have just probably called him.
Yeah, I know.
No, my bad.
I think that's my fault.
I you know what I did? Boy, I don't want to say half. I half did it. So I
Half-assed
checked
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even
fine.
say.
You're fine.
So like I checked. I said, hey, I'm not going to be there, so it'll probably be better. But we still want you Monday. So I was like, I did my job. I'm going on a cruise, but I did my job. And then I was like, now I'm going to send Nate the number.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, like it seems bad, and Charlie, feel free to pound me on this, but like I have a lot of players' numbers because I've done a lot of like Zooms and interviews with them, and they always say, hey, keep this to yourself, right? Because they know I do sports talk radio. There was a year or so sabbatical in there, but they know how once their number gets
You're
out
in the
among
system,
right?
Yeah.
Then and all of a sudden, there's a so and so from this station.
Yeah.
They don't want that, so I'm protective of it. But now Nate is in the circle of trust. First I would give him Matt's number and then take it back, but I forgot to give it to him for Monday, so I didn't complete. My task.
It's a hell of
I
a
half-assed it.
He was
ideology
waiting for
there.
us. He was waiting for us.
But Nate is a good dude too. Like I say, it's not that I don't trust you. It's just I've given my word to players that I'm not going to pass around the number.
But let's be fair. You kind of, at least at first, did not trust him because you were giving the number to Nate. So it's not just. I understand your point. Big picture radio guy person. if that person gets the Rolodex, they're going to call that person or text them to be on any type of show.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is specifically Nate. So it sounds like there was a trust tree
There was
that had to grow first.
Right. Well, I had to first get, like, for all I know, Nate was our producer until, he joined Lou and the Gorilla on Zany 104. Like, I don't know if he's, I don't know. So now he's been here. He's established trust.
Well, he does have 5 different shows.
Right, but I mean, he's also established himself in my eyes. I hadn't worked with you before.
It's true.
As a guy that I trust.
Don't you
and I
give that
also
number to
think
Losey.
I think he's also very.
Don't you give that number to Losey.
He'd be like, Matt, who?
I know, he wouldn't even know. Now, you know what? I never cared. I'm like, whatever. I've had the same number since high school, and I'm like, whoever I don't even get back. I don't answer my phone. Leave me a message if it's important. It is what it is. Text, whatever. But some guys are pretty. They're pretty like, no, I don't want any of my numbers. Steiner was like that for a little bit, but Alexander Steen, don't give my number. I'm like, no one cares.
How do you handle this?
Steiner, no one cares.
How do you handle this? Like, you get a text, and it's someone you know, but they're not in your Rolodex, so you don't know who it is. And then you think you're going to outplay them, so you look at the other texts. And there are guys in there that I look at the past text, and it's clear last time they called me a year ago, I didn't know who they were then.
Yes, that's
so
what I did.
You're like,
that's exactly right.
But you're like, I did answer, but I still don't. Do you get that?
New phone, who dis?
I do that. I get that all the time. I keep looking back at the old text, and I still can't figure it out. And he didn't even text me, hey, this is so-and-so. So I'm just like, what? And we talk about crazy. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Do you guys ever have contacts that get deleted randomly?
Yes.
Like contacts that you've had in your phone for years.
Yes.
And you're like, what? Where is this? And then it won't be in there.
My phone plays.
It's Putin.
It's Putin.
It's got to be.
It's Putin.
It's got to be.
No, like there were times where, like it was a player, a former player, and I was like, and somehow you need to, I got his number, and then you scroll, gone. Never get it back.
Very strange.
I always saw it was my wife going into my contact list and just deleting people she doesn't want on there.